Hello, everybody. It's Monday. Drama-free Monday. Guess who's here? Besides me. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come here. Well, come on in. Come on in. It's Monday and we're here. All right, come here. Come here. Yep. Oh. Hello, Terry. Guess who? Alive and kicking and getting thinner by the moment. Hi, Linda. How's Tim doing? How is he? I hope he's doing well. Is that what you call this? You call this singing? Hello, Ava. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Barb of HowToGetCreative.com. Hello, Rhonda. Tim's doing well. Oh, that's great. You know, I still, after all these weeks since I did the bookmarks, they are in a pile waiting for me to send them. So they're not lost. I just have to send them. I'm telling you, it is crazy. However, I have to mail a package off here in a few days. If I ever would stay home long enough without a trip or trips but mostly get me kind of in trouble. But that's okay. It's okay. It will eventually get done. Believe me. I think. Anyway. Hello, Connie. It's so good to see all of you. Hi, Denise. Hi, Franna. It is warm here today. We're back. We're having summer again. Yes, we are. It's cooling off at night, though, so that's great. It is cooling off. And that's really pleasant. So Mr. Chance is here, and he's just as demanding as ever. He is. We had a good weekend. A little crazy, but it was good. And Chance is making me pay for it. Oh, he is. How are you guys doing tonight? I hope you're doing well. It is 6 p.m. where I am. Chance, your boy, yeah. He is. I have two animals that are ancient. Elton has a dog that's ancient. They are in a race to see who is not going to survive first. They're all three. His dog is not as old as this one, as my dog. She's pretty old, but she's not as old as these guys. And so we just, we're just loving them every day, because that's what you got to do, right? That's what you got to do. He is something. I know, Rhonda. I'm ready for fall too. Oh, I did not, Denise. Thank you for that. I did not get the message. Yeah, I didn't. I know, it is heartbreaking, but hi, Carlin. Yeah, it is heartbreaking, but you know what? All three of them have had extraordinary lives. Elton's cat, or dog, even got hit by, what'd she get? Did she get hit by a car? I think maybe she got hit by, I don't know what she did. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. She got, she broke a leg badly years and years and years ago. And so they had two choices, put her down or spend several $1,000s to put her back together. And so they chose to put her back together. And she's had a great life, and she's she kind of gimps around, and she can't hear a thing. She's as deaf as Muppet is, maybe more so. Can't hear a thing. And so that's one of the frustrations of trying to communicate with deaf animals. With Muppet, we always trained her with words and hand signals. We always used a hand signal with the word. I think that was just dumb luck because I can still communicate with her, which is really good. It's very helpful. So it's very helpful. Amber's here. Hello, Amber. Good to see you. And that's right. Animals don't give up on humans. They just don't. So you just kind of got to keep hanging in there with them, don't you? Yeah. So these guys are going to get to go spend some time at the vet again this week. The vet that also boards animals that's close to me has treated these guys, looked after them for years, actually ever since we got both of them. And Chance, really, he's just such a slobberguts. Yeah, you're just slobberguts. If I don't keep his face wiped off, he slimes all over me. TMI, I know. Anyway, they always say when I bring Chance in, they always say, "Oh, Chance is here. We're so excited." And I'm like, you guys are crazy. You guys are crazy, crazy, crazy to tell me that you're so excited he's here. They love him. He, as soon as I take him in, they get him out of he has a soft crate. They immediately take him to the back, they unzip it, and they get him out, and somebody starts carrying him around. He is not abused at all. What? What is it? What is it? So anyway, we are traveling to a football game. So anyway. Yeah. Oh, that's great, Amber. It really helps. Hi, Vale. It really helps if you have hand signals to go with your words, because I have yet to have an animal who didn't go deaf before they died. If they lived to an old age, they all went deaf. And so it really is helpful. With a cat, it's a little different situation, but anyway, he's Chance is doing well. She can sit, lay down, speaks. Oh, that's good. And sit pretty. That's good. That is good. Same to you, Vale. Same to you. Absolutely. Okay, so I wanted to show you a couple things. Several things, and we'll get started. Oh, I did have some other things I wanted to show you. Hang on just a moment. What? What are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? What? Here we go. You need some snacks. Do you need some snacks? Is that the problem? Oh. He's standing on the floor. Sorry, you can't see me. He's standing down here on the floor just like, yes, treats please. Are you ready? All right. Okay, come on. Come on. Maybe back to see you in a little bit. Probably will. Okay, so, all right. Just good high five. Oh, that's funny. That's cool. Okay, so let us let me show you a project I'm working on. This is coming up for the VIP group. We're going to be doing part of this. I'll be recording a video about it, but I wanted to show you what I'm working on because I thought you might enjoy it. Enjoy seeing what I'm working on. You kind of have to ignore all the other crud on my table. Let's see. So what we're going to be doing I'm going to be recording a class for the BIP group, and it's going to be about painting fabric. This one is painted with dye, fabric dye. It's literally painted with fabric dye. I'm going to do several, 2 or 3 different ways of painting with different media. And so I thought I would show this to you. You know my love of mandalas, so this happens to be one of the patterns in one of my pattern books. And then after it's dyed, then I've been stitching on it. So I just thought I would show it to you. And because it's something it's sort of along the slow stitching movement, snippets, you'll see some people, Jenny Clouston comes to mind, that does stitching snippets or snippets of my daily life or something like that. You can't stand changing thread. Well, you do it all in one color. You could do it all in one color. Hey, Kathy. Yeah, Rhonda, you could just do it all in one color. You wouldn't have to change thread. Anyway, I've enjoyed this project and making it up as I go along. But it's quite interesting to see. This is actually a little more heavily stitched than it needs to be, But it's, I'm just kind of working my way through it. But I'm really enjoying it a lot. And so, of course, when you start doing something different, monochromatic would be beautiful, or do it all in variegated, like this thread out here. This is a variegated thread. There are several variegated threads in here, several different kinds of threads, and several variegated threads in there. And this has all been, all the markings on here will go away when I'm finished with it. What will I do with it when it's done? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm having a really good time doing, playing around with it now. So there you go. Okay, so anytime that you start a new, and this is not a new hobby for me, but it's just kind of going back, revisiting something. When I did embroidery before, when I was younger, I always used the DMC embroidery, stranded embroidery floss. That's what I always used because that's what you always did. That was bona fide. Well, then I found out that there were people out there that were actually combining different kinds of threads. And one of the threads that I have come to love is pearl cotton. And so I thought I would show you. I went shopping today, and I thought I would show you these because they are awfully beautiful. And so I thought they're not cheap, but what is cheap when it comes to a hobby? You don't get into a hobby because it's cheap. You get into a hobby because you want to get into a hobby, not because it's going to save you money. Back in the day, years ago, you would sew so that you could save money, right? Well, guess what? You don't sew today to save money. You do not do that. You sew today. Actually, long ago when I was doing a lot of sewing, getting back into it, because I have been back and forth in and out of sewing through the years. And when I was doing a lot of sewing back when I was in, I don't know, my 30s, I guess, late 20s, early 30s. And I got back into sewing because I'd sewed a lot when I was a kid. I went through a phase when I was in junior high and high school where I was tailoring wool, and then I kind of let that sit, and I went back to that. Anyway, it's a whole thing. But I always come back to doing some kind of stitching. But when I was a kid and my mom started me stitching on huck toweling, if you remember what huck toweling is, or we'd go to the dime store and we'd buy these embroidered or stamped blanks. They were stamped in blue ink, and they could be dresser scarves, or you could buy a tablecloth or a bedspread. And most of them were cross stitched. Some of them were embroidery with different kinds of stitches, but everything was all laid out for you. But that was always done using like stranded cotton or DMC and that kind of thing. So anyway, I went shopping because I found out that it was legal to basically do mixed media on fabric when it came to stitching. I never thought about that. And so I started kind of looking at the different options for that. So, and I should show you, I got the baby doll. I'll go get it after this. I got the baby doll. Hey, Sharon. If you guys want to see the baby doll, let me know. I'll go get it. Okay, so these were I have a bunch of pearl cottons that I use in my serger, or I use in the bobbin of my sewing machine, but I never thought about stitching with them. Well, if you have the right needle, you can stitch with them, hand stitch with them. Okay, so these were the first 3 variegated threads that I had that I would say were really beautiful to me. And these are by a company, they're called Valdani, Valdani, Valdani. I think maybe you can see it right there. You can get it from different places, different sources have it. Hello, Mary. Tablecloth, got it for your 16th birthday. There you go. I know, I didn't think about it at all. You want to see the baby doll? Okay, don't let me forget. So I've had these 3 spools of number 8 pearl cotton by Valdani. I've had these for years, okay, years. And this one right here is this chain stitch around this section of the mandala. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this when I started it. I didn't know if I thought about embroidering half of it and then letting the other half just kind of fade away. You know, I didn't know. Anyway, it turns out I'm not going to do that. I'm going to embroider the whole darn thing because I like it. But that's what this is this chain stitch out here. Okay, so I knew there was a store here that sold the Valdani threads, so I went to see. Hello, Dorothy. I decided I would go and look and see what other threads they had. Now, the trend, a lot of the trend is still neutrals. Well, you can tell by looking at these, I'm not really a neutral person. You can tell by looking at this, I'm not especially neutral. However, it never hurts to have a good selection of threads, including neutrals. So I went to see what they had, and they had a lot of size 12 pearl cottons. And so I got some 12s because I didn't have any of the, I had maybe 1 spool, okay? But I'm going to show these to you because I think they're absolutely stunning. Look at this color combination. Now, even if you don't stitch or you don't do thread stuff. You gotta admire these color combinations. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful colorway. This is a size 12. So it is a finer thread than this one. This is a size 8. So the bigger the number, the smaller the thread. Okay. And here's another one. This, you probably, the light's kind of blowing it out, but this is a variegated kind of ecru white kind of taupe color. This is also a 12. This is a beautiful combination of taupe to gray to off-white, and in this combination, taupe is okay for me. It's not my favorite color, but it's okay. And then this one is a green to, it's various shades of green, warm and cool. These are all size 12s. Okay, beautiful. Absolutely, you can use them in art journals and all kinds of stuff. If you wind these on your bobbin, you can use these on the bobbin of your sewing machine. That's a whole art form in itself. Here's a funny thing. When I was selling, helping at a sewing machine dealer, I worked there for several years off and on, and I taught people how to use their machines. That was my love. I loved to teach people how to use their machines and how to hopefully get more out of their machine than they thought about achieving. And I loved that so much. And one of the techniques that we did in one of the more advanced classes was what was called bobbin work. And it's where you wind the thread on the bobbin and then you stitch, but you stitch upside down. So you stitch with the right side of your fabric down against the feed dogs, because the bobbin is what is going to do the pretty stitching. Okay, the thread in the bobbin is what does the pretty stitching. It's heavier, it's beautiful. You got to practice with it. There's no getting around. You got to practice with it. Anyway, it's called bobbin work. That's what the technique was called. That's what the books call it. And the person I worked for insisted that we called it bobbin play, because that had a positive connotation where bobbin work didn't. And I'm like, okay. Okay, whatever. Anyway, okay, so this one is a little collection. These are also size 12s, okay, size 12 threads. And this one, I think, might be this one. It might be the same as that. But it didn't really matter to me because, you can never have too many pretty threads, and most of these are variegated. I think this one might not be. I can't tell for sure. The variegation is pretty subtle, but these are all size 12. Exactly, Rhonda. Excuse me while I do some house play. Yeah, right. Oh yeah, whatever. And then I got this one. These are all, we'll go this way. These are all greens or neutrals. So very green, very neutral, heavy on the greens. These are size 8s. Okay, so these are the heavier threads, like this one. This is an 8. But these work really well for hand stitching. If you want to hand stitch with them, the secret is to use a chenille needle. Okay, it's got a bigger eye. So yeah, I'm going to show you the difference. This is a chenille needle. Okay, it's a bigger eye, so you can, I don't know if I can show that to you where you can actually see it. There you go. Okay, it is a chenille needle. It has a longer eye, so you can get the thicker thread through it. These come in different sizes. But the main thing is it will punch a bigger hole because it's a thicker needle. It will punch a bigger hole in the fabric. If the hole is big enough, it makes the hole so the thread will go through. And so that's the secret to stitching the pearl cottons, is to use a chenille needle. If you want to stitch the stranded cottons, like DMC, the 6-strand embroidery threads, if you'll use a milliner's needle, and this works also for fine threads like silk threads and stuff like that. This has a very tiny hole. The shaft of the needle is the same all the way down. So this is a milliner's needle, and if you get a fine enough milliner's needle, you can actually bead with the milliner's needle. This is 2 strands of DMC through that. It's still a little bit of a challenge. For this particular size milliner's needle, I could never get 3 strands through it, but it works with 2. Anyway, that's just, giving you a little, stuff that maybe you hadn't thought about. Used to make woven landscapes. Oh, cool. How neat. Okay, so there's that. Okay, I just thought I would show you those threads just because. Okay. It's my portable new drag around with me obsession. And it's handy to have a class to be working on to give some ideas. So I had an excuse to get some more stuff. Right? Like we need excuses. We don't. Do we need an excuse or a reason? No. Hello, Angela. Okay. So last week, was it last week? Yeah, it was last Friday. I tell you. I don't know where I live. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we did fabric paper. I've done many kinds of fabric paper, and I thought I would show you a few of them. Yeah, I'll show you a few of them. We revisit it every so often because people are fascinated with fabric paper for whatever reason. And so I should have had all these pulled out ahead of time, but I didn't, so you're going to have to just give me a second. Just a second here. There are multiple streams that are on fabric paper that I have done. I'm sure there are a ton of streams other people have done. I have done it in lots of different ways because I love the concept of combining fabric and paper. I love it a lot. And you could say it's an obsession from time to time, but I'd prefer not to go that far. Say it's an obsession. Okay, I think I've got all of these. So we were doing fabric paper with paper towels, and that is, I will show you. This is what we did on Friday. Barbara Clark gave me the suggestion of the color combination, and this is the one I used. The foundation for this is a Scott rag. They're actually paper towel, but they have kind of a rag-like consistency, and I think I put the box away already, but that's what the foundation is for the paper that I built the fabric paper on. So there's paper, and then this backing, the stabilizer, is a paper-like substance made of polyester, And so that is part of it. All of this on the top is fabric. So the color combination that Barbara challenged me with, was teal, coral, and black. Okay. You have a sale to attend on Saturday. Good for you. That's wonderful. May you make many sales. So this is this piece, okay? And I told you that I had a whole class on fabric, paper, flowers, and that's what this is. So I thought I would show these to you, okay? These are done with the Scott paper towels, okay? So Scott paper towels on the top, not building the foundation with fabric on top of them, but putting a stabilizer on the back. This class is on the channel. It is fabric, I don't know, don't remember the name of it. Something with flowers and fabric paper. But the top surface of this is the paper towel. So it's dyed paper towels or painted paper towels. So that's what you actually see. You don't actually see the fabric. The fabric is on the bottom in this case. In this one, the fabric is on the top and the paper towel is back here. Okay? So that's what I was building them on. So what do you do with things like this? Let's see if I can show you. See if I have a journal page that I can put my hand on right away. I hope. Just looking, give me a second. It's in one of these journals. I have 3 of them that look alike. Oh, I know it's not in this one. It is in different journal that is here. I'm not sure I'm seeing the journal it's in. I may have to cough up that journal in the next stream. I'll look here in a minute. I'm looking around my studio to see if I see it. I think I see it. Hold on. So this is an art journal page that I did using different kinds of flowers, okay? So art journal spread, and this is paper, these are paper, this is paper, this is fabric paper, this is the paper towel fabric paper, and that may be the only one that's in here, but this is layered up fabric paper using the paper towel as the top layer and fabric underneath so you can stitch on it. A lot of these, some of these are fabric. This is tissue paper. This is, what is that? Interfacing, I think, you know, or stabilizer. This is paper. Anyway, okay, that's that. So these, I'm just going to show these to you real quickly. These are the paper towel ones. And you can do, you know, if you like this kind of thing, you can put a pin back on it, and then you can wear it as a lapel, you know, as a jacket. They're so big. These are so big that you can use them on a jacket. This also, I showed how to use the flower stitch foot on the small circles and also the circle attachment to stitch the outer circle, the outer bands of stitching, which are straight on a sewing machine. But if you have a circular attachment, it will cause you to stitch in a circle. You can achieve the same thing using a thumbtack and tape. So that class is free. It's on YouTube here as well as on the website. Okay, so all of these are dyed or painted paper towels that are stitched on. Okay, so it's a fabric paper because the fabric's on the back, the paper is on the paper towel's on the top. This one is one that I cut into a spiral. I pleated part of it. I just cut it into a spiral and then wound it up and stitched it together. The leaves are also fabric paper using paper towel. This is what one layer looks like. Okay, that's one layer. You can see how big they are because they're big enough to fit my hand. This one is 5 different circles, and this is just with a straight stitch in a circle using the circle maker or the circular tool, the circle maker tool. Mine happens to be a Bernina. That's the one I used, but I also showed how to do it with a thumbtack and tape if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a circular tool. And this was left over from a bunch of the paper towels that I put together, folded them, put them together, and and I used half of it on something else. Just for points of reference, the other things that I did, this is paper napkin that again had a backing of some sort of, it was probably interfacing in order to be able to stitch it. These are flowers that are made with the Kanzashi flower makers. This is paper napkin turned into fabric paper. One layer of paper napkin turned into fabric paper. This is crepe paper, and so is this. This is not fabric paper. This is just paper. Dyed, undyed, or painted, probably painted rather than dyed. And using, again, the Kanzashi flower maker tools. Okay, so that's those. This is paper napkin turned into fabric paper, single layer paper napkin. That was the leftover from this journal that I covered, made the cover for it. I love how this feels. I love this so much. I've got to do more of this. I'd kind of forgotten how good it feels. I put it on whatever I put it on. I don't remember if it was stabilizer or interfacing. Either one will work. Non-woven interfacing works. Or a stabilizer. Oh, I know what I did. I fused fusible interfacing to the back of it. That's what I did. Fusible web to the back of a single layer of paper napkin, and then I fused it to whatever the substrate was, which is probably, it's that Ricky Tim's Stable Stuff was the backing, and then I don't know, I fused it to something else. Anyway, you'll have to go back. This is on a stream on YouTube. And then after it was done, and I did the stitching and all that, glued it to the cover of the notebook. Then I went back and I painted a coat of, I think it was matte medium, could have been gloss medium, I don't know. Painted on it, and it just has this wonderful feel. So another layer of, or another kind of fabric paper. This has all kinds of stitching on it. It has zigzag stitching, there's zigzag stitching. A lot of this is pieced on top of it. And you have to have, if you're going to do that intense kind of stitching, you do have to have some sort of fabric involved. You cannot, there's no way you can stitch on a layer of paper napkin by itself. Okay? All right, so there's that. Let's see. What other kinds of stuff can we talk about here? This is also... Oh, let's see. What was this? This is also fabric paper. Oh, let's see. This is also fabric paper. This is attached to a journal cover. This, I think, is construction paper as the basis. I have another one here somewhere, which is paper napkin. I'm not sure where it is. I may have used it and put it in my storage of things. This is the construction paper fabric paper. This is also made from construction paper. All this cover, or these pieces around the edge. These pieces around the edge are the construction paper fabric paper. This is painted canvas. So is this. So the edging around here, this was extra papers, or extras of the construction paper fabric paper. That class, those classes are also, this class is also available online. Okay, before you go there and look at the construction paper class turned into fabric paper and write and tell me that is too much work, I'm not going to listen to it. I have had, every once in a while somebody gets all wigged out about how much time that takes to do that. And it's like, well, how much time did you spend watching? It's like, why waste your time? I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, so if you're going to go watch at your own risk. Just watch at your own risk. All right. I have quite a stack of stuff here. I do have quite a stack. So let's talk a little bit more about the construction paper fabric paper. It was not an original idea for me, but I did take the technique that I originally learned and I refined it and added to it. I'm just looking for, and I do, when I teach the class, I give this person credit, and I can't remember exactly where it is. Let's see. I will show you where it is. All right. Clearly, I should have, okay, I think it's 20. Yeah, okay. I refined the technique and made it the way that I wanted to make it. But I'm going to show you where the original inspiration came from, as this Quilting Arts magazine right here, July of 2009. That's where the original inspiration came from. It is by an artist named Jill Kennedy. This is her original concept of the fabric paper made out of construction paper. Okay, so this is her concept. And then I took it and kind of went off in my own direction. There's another, she shows different ways of embellishing the surface. And there's another piece that she did. So she is creating an art piece from the sheet of construction paper, fabric paper. Okay? All right. So this, let's see. I'm going to show you some projects made from it. Yes, put caution. Absolutely caution. This may not be for you. This technique may not be for you. Watch at your own risk. Okay, this is made with construction paper, fabric paper. Okay. The trim is trim. This is yarn. This is actually just yarn that I used. Fabric on the inside is just a little notebook cover. This is hand-dyed fabric that I did. This is heavily embellished with the sewing machine using a number 12 thread. So it has some thickness, which I love, and it's just following the design that I drew on there. So there's that one. There's all different ways to do fabric paper, and that's why I love it so much. This is another one, another example, same thing. This time I'm not following a design, but I'm just creating spirals. And the fabric that's on these is organza. There is a rainbow organza that I buy it by the 5 or 10 yard pieces at Hobby Lobby. And I put it on the surface of my fabric paper before I do the stitching, and it gives you this wonderful fade of it affects the color because it's rainbow, but it's an ombre. It goes through, there's a couple of different colorways that are just really nice. So this does not have tulle on it. And this trim is made by twisting different fibers together. Here's another one. This one is different kinds of the construction paper, fabric paper. So this one is this is one sheet and this is another sheet. This sheet is the same as this, but it has this wonderful feeling. It is moldable, it is stitchable. You can stitch it heavily, it's not going to rip apart, and no one can believe that you actually make paper and fabric paper work together with kids' construction paper. Okay? It's just kids' construction paper. Not the kind that you build a house with. That you can do something else with. And this is a hand-dyed fabric inside. This is also a class on how to get creative. And this, again, has the organza on the top of it, not the tulle. The one that we did on Friday has tulle on it. It has black tulle on the top. Anything you put on the top of the paper is going to affect the color, but that's what I like about it. These are things made from, this one is made of tulle. Not made of tulle, sorry. Tulle is the top layer. This one has the organza and then another piece that has the tulle on the top. So this is both. Making bookmarks. This is just using up the scraps and zigzagging the pieces together. Okay. All right, so those are done with fabric paper, and they're on felt. That's the final layer. Make sure when you do, if you turn things into bookmarks, that you keep them pretty thin. Okay. Some other. I keep all the fabric paper scraps because I never know what I'm going to do with them. I make ATCs out of them. I will weave them together, stitch them together. I don't even know what I used this project, what this project was for. I have no idea. I don't remember. But the scraps were too good to throw out. I mean, this would be great on the edge of something, even these little scraps. So I keep all those scraps, and then sometimes I use them on top of other things. So fabric paper on top of that. Some of this is, like this is woven, let's see, was this woven? No, this is just strips of painted scrapbook paper. It was ugly scrapbook paper, actually. It was quite ugly. It's painted to alter it. Some of it's paste paper technique, some of it's just painting with metallic paints just to change it so it's not ugly anymore. This was super cheap, very cheap scrapbook paper. It's when I bought this pad when I very first started trying to do paper stuff. The strips are applied to fabric, so you can either have the fabric on the top or fabric on the bottom. Doesn't matter. Either one will turn it into fabric paper. So this is paper on the top, fabric on the bottom. Some of these other ones are the opposite, you know, where there'll be fabric on the top, paper on the bottom, paper on the top, fabric on the bottom. You can do this. The world is your oyster. You are only limited by your imagination. And this, because it's paper on the top, doesn't have any tulle or any kind of top fabric on it. Okay? All right. Fabric paper ideas. And then when you have the scraps left over, you just stick them in a clear envelope. I am a big fan of clear boxes, clear envelopes, clear everything so I can see what I have, and also to label it. And I will save even the teeny tiniest little scrap, you know. And then I label it with what it is, fabric and paper scrap project. And these are some of the scrap things that we've done together in various, most of these I think are done on streams. Yes, okay, this is the paper napkin that we did together, the single layer paper napkin that was fused to, I don't know what, probably interfacing. I don't know what I fused it to now. And then the stabilizer on the back. So that turned it. This is a fabric in here. It's a fabric interfacing or stabilizer in there. So that's paper napkin. This is just scraps of fabric put onto the Ricky Tim stabilizer. Okay, but so this is more of a scrappy thing than it is a fabric paper thing. Same with this. This is scraps of fabrics. Some of these I've used, some of these I have not used. Once I make these pieces, all bets are off as to what happens to it. If I want a little piece of it for something, I will cut out a little piece of it. If I want to die cut it, I don't care. I do not care if I have if I want to take something square out of the middle, if I just want this piece right here, if I want to die cut that or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. This is not precious to me. For the most part, I don't scan and copy these. Sometimes I have, but not too often. They're not precious to me. I just simply use them. When something strikes me and I want to use it, I use it. Okay, so here's another piece. This I intend to use as a journal cover sometime. I didn't like the stitching down here, and so I ripped out whatever doodly thing I had done down here. My hands and my eyes were off that day, so I ripped it out. I'm like, okay, I'll just do something different. This also is covered with the black tulle, sparkly black tulle. And here's another one. These, when we did these were done doing kind of a rainbow affair. Pretty much the same fabrics. This one was done in a diagonal, pretty much a diagonal, laying down the pieces of fabric. This one was random. And I love using the little bits and pieces of the edges of the fabric bolts. Same thing. Okay, so that gives you some ideas. Hopefully that gives you some ideas for fabric paper. Oh, and I have one more that I'll show you. And I haven't done this other one in a long time, but I did a whole class on it. And it's called silk paper. Sorry, I had to take a moment and put this stuff back together, because if I don't, oh, we're not going to cooperate now. If I don't take a moment and put all this stuff back together, then I get myself all discombobulated. Yep. There's another layer of, I'll show you, paper towel. Sorry, I was hearing something odd. I don't know if that's Muppet barking or what. She hasn't barked in so long. If she barked, I wouldn't know. She was a terrible barker. She would get me in trouble with the neighbors. They would, yeah, it was terrible. And then she quit barking because she couldn't hear herself bark anymore. Yeah, poor thing. I'll show you this piece before we go to the silk paper. It's so annoying when my equipment decides not to function quite right, but you know, it is what it is. This one is paper towel. Okay, this is paper towel on the top with a fusible interfacing on the back, or a stabilizer on the back. But that's just it shows you that I can do neutral or softly dye things. It's very softly painted. And the two layers are stitched together, therefore turning it into a fabric paper, because the backing is fabric enough that it will stabilize the paper towel and keep it from ripping. Okay? So there's that. Now I'm going to show you the silk paper. So this is using silk fibers. Okay, this is just strands or pieces of, if you look, maybe you can see it. See this? This is silk that I purchased that is just it's dyed, but it's like silk roving. Okay, like wool roving, but it's silk and it's dyed. And so it is put together using, I think it was textile medium. And then before I stitched it, I put a layer of black tulle over it. So there's the black tulle over it. This also has Angelina fibers. That's what's on here. That's Angelina fibers there, that sparkly stuff. Even with the black tulle over it, it still allows it to be sparkly. But this is just a layer of basically glued together silk. And here is another colorway. So this is totally different colors of the silk, essentially glued together with Angelina fibers. That's the sparkle. This one doesn't have any tulle on it. Very, very difficult to stitch if you don't have some. You gotta be careful with it. The tulle does help. It gives it just enough more thickness that it helps. If you're not careful with your stitching, and if you're not patient, you'll end up with stuff like this, where it's ugly. Okay? All right. So, keep trying to use my little thing. It was. Angelina was popular years ago. I bought a whole bunch of it. I have a lifetime supply of most things. Unfortunately. I'm going to have to pare things down. All right, any questions about any of that stuff? I just thought I would give you some ideas because for every one way of doing something, there are a million, probably, ways of doing things. Many, many ways for doing different things. All right. All right, let's, I think what we're going to do this time, okay, Angela can't listen anymore. She just has to watch because her earbud died. That happens. Okay, so what we're going to do for the remainder of this time, I don't know if we'll get to the stitching part, but what we're going to do here is we are going to, it's warm in here right now. We're going to use this. This is also a Scott shop towel. It's different than the other ones. The Scott rags come in a box and they're white. This is the Scott shop towels that come on a roll. They're all blue. I don't think these come in white. Anyway, you can try them or not. See the question above from Bale. Do all these techniques require interfacing? You have to have some kind of combination to make paper stitchable. You have to have something that's fabric adhered to it in some way. Usually I usually either a fusible web or a temporary stabilizer spray adhesive that's temporary spray adhesive. You have to do something to put fabric and paper together to make the paper really stitchable. What happens with paper is if you heavily stitch it, if you stitch paper as heavily as I stitched this, for the most part, you can pretty much guarantee yourself that it's going to come apart, that it's going to, it perforates. You can stitch paper to a point. You can do some stitching on paper and not have it come apart, but you have to use a longer stitch length and the tiniest needle that you can get away with on your sewing machine so that it pierces the smallest hole possible. Many people think that you have to use a really big needle so that you can stitch paper with a big needle, but all that does is poke a great big hole in it, and my experience is it will perforate and it's a lot easier to come apart. And if you want to be hand stitching, it's totally your call. You know, if you want to hand stitch it, yeah, it's totally your call. Alicia, hello. You remembered? Good for you. And by the way, I will not be here Friday. I will be here on Monday. I'll be here a week from today. Okay? It's going to be a little screwy here for a little bit. I know. And I tell you one thing and then show up and, tell you something different. It's just my life right now. It's a little crazy. Those of you that don't know, I am getting married October 13th. It's on a Sunday. Yeah, so I'm getting married then, and then we're going away for a week or so. So I'm going to be gone for a little bit. So there you go. So that's why life is a little crazy right now, because we're trying to figure out how to combine households. 13 is your lucky number? Good deal. The Studley Duck and I are tying the knot. We did set a date. We set a date. All the kids are flying in, and so that's what's happening. Yeah, it's really happening. It's really happening. I'm not going to wear a dress, but I did find something that I think is going to work. I don't like dresses, so I'm not wearing a dress. I did try one on, but it looked like crap, so. It's not going to be a flannel shirt and jeans, but it's going to be casual. That is true. But it's not a flannel shirt and jeans, although I would be the most comfortable in flannel shirt, jeans, and Birkenstocks. My son would frown upon that, however, and so would my daughter-in-law, so there you go. Okay, so let's come back to this. All right, so back to this paper towel. So I'm going to use a glue stick, and the thing I'm going to use for fabric, the combination that I was suggested was blue, purple, and yellow. Blue, purple, yellow. And so I said I would do that, but I have absolutely not had time to do it before now. So we will put this together ourselves and I'm going to use batik fabrics that I have because I love batik fabrics. And so if you will humor me a moment, I will, here's another scrap, we'll use that. So I may budget a little bit because I have this wonderful blue to green fabric. So there's blue sections in here we'll pull out. We hope to build a house. I don't know when, but that is what we hope to do. But for the temporarily, we will be living at his house. And which is why we have been working so hard to clean out the house, which needed it desperately. All right, we'll make a pile of blue, pile of yellow, pile of purples, and you're going to immediately tell which colors I'm drawn to. Yep, okay, we've got some of all that in there, so there's nothing that says we can't use that. Don't ask me why this star fabric is in this. I don't know. No idea. Anyway, it is. All right, there's something that might be usable. Let's see if this one, if I already used this. That's already there. Yeah, so that's what we've been doing, and it's been an adventure, people. It's been an adventure, and it's been an adventure for both of us. But as of, okay, you ready for this? As of today's Monday. As of last night, the last room in the house that had to be gone through is gone through, and as of today, it has been totally cleaned by the cleaning staff. Cleaning staff, doesn't that sound crazy? The cleaning crew that we hired to come in and clean. Because quite honestly, I said, I'm not going to clean this. That's what I said. There you go. Okay. That is exactly what I said. And he said, okay. I said, okay, there's some scraps that are already done, so we'll pull those out. Can you tell that I like the purple? All right, let's use this one. I need some yellows, folks. I need some yellows. We might have to pull this in as a yellow, even though it's yellow-orange. We might have to pull that in as a yellow. Here's another one that's a little different than that, I think. Or if it's the same, we'll use it, because it's a scrap. I'm just looking to see if I have any more yellow here. I have this big old tub of batiks that I have collected for years. Literally for years and years. And I buy it in small pieces. And over the years, because I have taught so many classes, I have collected a lot of batiks. And some of these I've even dyed myself, but most of these are commercially dyed. Yeah, all right. I don't see any more yellows in here. We may have, I'm short on yellows. short on yellows. Let me take a look in my scrap bag here. You guys, I need to stay home and I need to clean my own house. All right, we got some yellows there. Okay, are we ready? Exactly, Rhonda. It is one of the joys. It definitely is. Like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. All right, I'm going to pull out just a few yellows in here that I think might work. This one's kind of a scrappy looking thing. And a little of this, and maybe we've got enough to get us going. Oh, there's a good yellow. I like that fabric. I've used that so much. This little kind of checked looking thing. A different kind of check. Okay, we're going to call that, I mean, obviously it's way more fabric than I need, but we have choices. We have choices. Okay. My craft room will be very small by comparison to what I work in right now. Because, you know, the space that I work in right now, this was an addition onto our home when my mother was with us. We added this on so that she could actually be here with us. Otherwise, without that, there was no way. There was no way that we could have her here, because my house, without this addition, is is a regular split foyer house, which means that you come in and you go either upstairs or downstairs. It has a nice big foyer, but then you go up or you go down to go to the main living areas of the house. And so we added this space on, and so I have a big sewing room, I have a big studio space, which has been great. But you know, it's like anything else. When you have a lot of space, guess what you do? You guys know what you do? If you don't know, I will tell you. You just fill it up. And a whole lot of what I have filled this space with, I've gotten rid of an awful lot of things, but there's a ton more that has to go right on out of this house. And so that's going to have to happen. Because you can't just combine, you know, all the years of things that we have together with our families. You know, I was married just shy of 50 years to Claw's man. You can imagine how much stuff the two of us collected together, and we worked together. We did a lot of creativity-based projects together, and we enjoyed a variety of things. So we were not shy about getting the stuff, getting all the different things that we wanted to have. If there was books, magazines, especially as he was failing, I was keeping him supplied with books and magazines and anything that I thought might keep him plugged in. You know, I would get things for him, because it's like I was trying so desperately to keep him present, because I didn't realize for a long time that we were dealing with dementia to the level that we were. And so we ended up with a lot of books, a lot of magazines, a lot of, and so I'm going to make some tough decisions about what I'm keeping and what's going away. So it's not going to be as big. It is. And the first thing we had to do, we had to find Studley Duck's house. We found it. His wife died 5 years ago, and there was a lot that had to be found in his house. And we found the house, and we figured out, we got it down, pared down to where it was, how do I say this? Where the amount of stuff that's in there is appropriate to the space that he has. That was one step. Okay, you got to pare things down. You got to decide what's usable and what's not. Get rid of the rest, and you can't make universal sweeping changes all at one time. You got to go in increments. That's what we've done. Okay. Once that gets done, then you can start making other plans about, okay, now what are the things that are just really important? I'm just cutting this into strips, you guys. That's all I'm doing, is just cutting down some of these things, some of these pieces, so that I have a little bit less of an overwhelming task here. So you have to take it in stages, and that's what we've been doing, taking it in stages. Otherwise, it just becomes so overwhelming. So we've gotten it to the place now where we're almost at the place where it's much more comfortable for him, and it's to the place now where we can see, more of what will work. Where can I fit, where do I belong, how do I do this thing? And to be quite honest, every once in a while I just go, I can't deal with this right now, and I just go away just get away from it, because it's I just can't do this right now. Sometimes you just got to go away for a little bit. Okay, this is a little too orange for me, so I'm going to nix this one for now. I may bring it back in a little bit. Okay, let's go back to this. Let's come back. So I have some yellows. Okay, a little pile of yellows. I have this is really more purple. Well, there's some blue here. Let's take a little chunk of this. Okay, a little chunk of that. It does feel so much better. It does. It really does. Feels so much better for both of us. It's been a job though, you guys, but once we tied into it, we just went pell-mell into the project and did not look back, because it was if we don't stick with this and keep going and get this done, if we don't go after this like our hair is on fire, we're gonna quit, because it was a lot. It was a lot. And if you ever start it, you gotta keep going. You really gotta keep going. Okay, let's take this blue piece right here. And he's lived in the same house. I've lived in this house for 32 years, I think it is. He built his house, and he's lived in his house for 50 some years. That's a lot of stuff. That is a lot of stuff. Okay, so I'm just cutting down some smaller pieces here. I'll deal with the purples in a minute. Bye, Amber. Good to see you. Sleep well, friend. Sleep well. All right. There's a piece of blue, and then let's cut a little piece of this blue. I'm going to cut a hunk of this out that's mostly blue-ish. Okay, so we got that. Then we got some purples here. We've got purples that are small pieces. So we're going to pull those. All right, so we have, is that what it was? Blue, purple, and yellow. Yeah, that was what it was. Okay, that one, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm making decisions as I go here. Okay, this one. Okay, we can do that piece, and then we'll rip a hunk of this off, and then we're going to, all right, let's cut this. Then we're going to start piecing some stuff together. Okay. All right, you ready? Let's at least glue it up. Let's tack this color combination together with glue. And then from there, you're going through your stuff at the moment. It is hard. It is hard. You know, what hangs you up is pictures and memory things will hang you up. And when Race was home, he was home the end of July, first part of August. He was home for, I don't know, 10 days or something. And we talked about it before we ever started working on the paring down. I mean, I had done a lot of stuff before that, but we needed to take a look at all of the tools and stuff. Is a lot. And we talked about it before we started. And he said, we're going to do this. And he, talked about, it's the same thing you see on TV, donations, keep. But he said, we're going to make decisions, and he said, I'm going to make decisions quickly, and I'm going to appreciate being able to see these things again, and I'm just going to go for it. And because he was primarily dealing with all the tools and equipment that we had left, stuff that I wasn't going to use ever again. And so it was up to him to decide what he wanted to keep and what he didn't want to keep. And so we were doing it quickly. And that's what hangs you up, is when you get caught in the minutia of the organization. And you get caught in the memories, and you get caught in the pictures. Those are things. And memorabilia, pictures, memories, those will get you. So we made decisions quickly by going, okay, is this important? Is this something that I really need? I really want? If you want it, if it's important to you, the question to ask yourself is, okay, what's important about it? And, if it really is important, then you hang on to it. But the thing, you have to decide what the overall goal is, and I'm still working on this, I gotta tell you, but it is easier, and it gets easier as you go, believe it or not. It gets easier. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to build this piece of fabric, and we're just going to build this fabric. Yep. So I'm just going to use some glue stick. This is Yoo-Hoo glue stick. It's not fabric glue stick, it's just glue stick for paper. And I advise that you have either a damp rag or a baby wipe available when you're doing this. I know, that's right, Rhonda. That's what gets you in trouble. You put it in. The problem is when you put it in the donate pile and then you drag it back out. That I've done that quite a few times. But I'm getting ready to make some pretty hard decisions. And hard as in, it's time to do it. It's time to make those decisions, And it's not hard, it is what it is. It just is what it is. Okay, let's just keep putting fabrics on here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time thinking about this. I'm just going to be It's a build as you go. All right. When you have a fabric like this one, that has the gold on one side and plain on the other, you have to decide what you want. Sometimes I use one time and then the other the next time. And when I do this, I usually let the fabrics hang off the edge a little bit. You're selling yours to make money for the local hospice. That's great. My problem with selling stuff is I don't want to deal with people. Quite frankly, I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to deal with people telling me, oh, that's too expensive. Oh, that's, I just don't want to deal with it. So that is my problem. I would rather give it away. Yes, I would like to make money for various causes. Quite frankly, yeah. Anyway. God bless you, Dorothy. Go for it. I wish you all the best. Okay, so I have no plan about how I'm doing this. I'm just doing it, okay? I'm just doing it. And I'm not doing it in real teeny tiny chunks, which sometimes I have in the past done it in little bitty chunks. I'm not doing that on this one. We are doing bigger pieces. And this glue stick, the reason I'm using glue stick is because I don't know when I'm going to get back to this to actually stitch it. And therefore, I need to have something that is going to hold. If I use the temporary spray adhesive, which I really like, if I use that, what's going to happen is it's going to let go because it dissolves over time. And so I can't do that because I don't know when I'm going to get back to this to stitch it. So I'm going to have to do something like a glue stick, which is going to hang on to it. And once it's dry, which usually I tempt fate and I end up starting to stitch it before the glue is completely dry. Sometimes that really causes problems. Really causes problems. And it's not good when it causes problems to that degree. So by the time I get back to this, the glue stick will be dry and it will be easy to stitch it. And the other thing I may do with this is I may stitch it. We'll put this out here. I may actually stitch this one by hand. That's what I thought I might do with this one, is stitch this one by hand. Okay. Let's put this. I'm just gonna stick this big old chunk up here, and then we'll break it up with some other. Well, let's just put it in the middle. Let's just put it right here. Let's just put it right here, because why not? That's cool, Dorothy. The thing about having people come to my house and stuff, I just don't do that. I just don't do that. Some people are really, it's like, oh, you should sell on Marketplace, or I buy this cool stuff on Marketplace. And it's like, yeah, that's good for you. That just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. Like, no, thank you very much, but no thank you. Not interested in having people come to my house. Not interested in that. Not at all. Not even kind of, sort of. Okay, let's put some more big pieces on this. Let's do this. For me, that is not an option. I don't. think you have to be real careful about who you allow to come to your place, where you live or where you are, or, you know. So there you go. So if you can take it to a group like that and let them decide what they want to give you for it, that is the best, I think. That is a very good plan. All right, this little piece of fabric. We'll get rid of this little bitty bit. I'm going to just stick it right there. Start breaking up this section. Do I always do this like this? Nope. I just work on it. I just work on it as let's do this one. You know, it's kind of whatever appeals to me in the moment. It's like, oh, I'll just do this. Oh, I'll just do that, you know? Yep. Okay. No, I can't emphasize enough you're going to have some surprising things happen as you go along if you work this way, which is just start talking to somebody or doing something online or watching something online and don't think. Just don't think. Just do. When my nephew, this is years ago, my nephew was young, you know, or when I was young, there were workbooks. They were called Think and Do. We'll put it this way up. Think and Do books. And I don't even remember. I think they taught you language or reading or something. I don't remember. And my nephew, we always called him the do and think kid because he would do first and then think later. Yeah, he was a do and think. Yeah, do and think. He just never quite got the rhythm of thinking first and doing later. He would do it and then go, oh, shouldn't have done that. Yep. All right, let's just stick it on. And because this paper towel is now getting several layers of little collagey bits of fabric on it, it's beginning to stiffen up, which is great. I will, I think, add some of these yellows, maybe a lot of this yellow I'm going to use on the top as the kind of the accents of the thing. Maybe we'll, yeah, because see, I like this fringy kind of stuff. Sometimes you just, you know, think less, do more, think less. Okay. I'm going to fill in the rest of this section here. Let's do, okay, do that. I do tend to build things in kind of a grid style as opposed to just willy-nilly, but that's not always true. Sometimes I do kind of the willy-nilly thing. And it's okay to do that, you know. But I do tend to work in a grid or work in diagonal, you know. Pick a pattern and kind of stick with it. It takes some of the thinking out of it for me. Good night, Dorothy. Have a good sleep, girl. Have a good sleep. We're not going to be here much longer, but we're going to finish this. We're going to put this combination. When I got to the quilt store where I bought those threads I showed you in the beginning, I went in there today and they're having a quilt hop. I didn't even know what a quilt hop was. Anyway, they said when they checked me out, there were a lot of people in there, and I'm like, golly, where'd all these people come from? And she said, oh, are you quilt hopping today? And I'm like, the lady before me said, oh, yes, that she'd been there multiple times for the quilt hop. And I'm like, whoa, I don't even know what that is. Anyway, you know, some of us know what things are and some of us don't. I had no clue. I had no clue. I live under a rock, you know. So okay, it's coming along. All right, we're gonna finish. Let's put this yellow piece in here. This has a little piece here. You can order fabric from eBay. You can, of course, order fabric online from different sources, but you could order from eBay. You know, if you need a variety of fabrics, you could do that. If you don't have much in the way of fabric, that's one way to do it. You saw this piece of fabric hanging out over there. Well, that's a good piece of fabric. Let's just... It's very wrinkled, which is not necessarily conducive to gluing it down in a flat manner. But you know what? We're going to make it cooperate. It even has some yellow strings on the back of it. Or watch someone online try to tell them to put something. So, oh yeah, and it just doesn't work. And that's one of the reasons that I'm not great about watching the chat. I'm just really not good at watching the chat. Sometimes I'm better than others. That's why it really, really, really helps to have moderators. That is one of the things that Clausman was, you know, most of the time before he really failed on me. That was one of the things he was just excuse me, really good at doing, was being able to watch the chat, and he could answer most questions, but once in a while he'd have to flag me down, or he usually was in a different part of the house. He'd have to come up and say, you need to answer so-and-so's questions. It's like, oh, I didn't see it. Yeah. But yeah, you try and tell some. I've had people do that to me, go, you know, you need to do this in this place, and it's like, man, you most of the time you just can't follow. You cannot track with somebody's instruction. I don't know what it is, because it's so obvious to the person telling you, and when they're trying to describe, part of it's the lag in the chat. That's part of the problem. You know, you're trying to, because there is always a lag in the chat, and then it gets worse and it gets worse. Yeah. So that's a big part of the issue. I don't know, you guys know Crafting Mom is Shelley. I got a message from her yesterday that they were in the path of the hurricane, and she said that they were good, that they lost power, but I don't think they had damage. And she'd had to drive 2 towns over in order to get signal to be able to let me know that she was okay. So I really appreciated that she let me know. Yeah, I am so happy she's okay too. Did the rest of you guys go? Rhonda and I are the only one having the chat here. The rest of you guys take off. Did you guys all go to bed? Did you say, no, we had enough of this? We had enough of this, woman. I know. It makes you just heartsick when you see what some of them are dealing with, doesn't it? All right. Let's get this section right here. Oh, it's always better if you iron your fabrics, people. It's always better. Oh, Terry's here. Hi, Gray. Lurking? Okay, good. I'm glad to know that. I'm glad you're lurking. I just am sitting here just rattling on and gluing fabric. This is a piece of hand-painted something, muslin, I think, that I painted for some project, some class, probably. Okay, now we're going to add these other little bits here and there. Is there another one I wanted to use? This one. Okay. Good, good. I'm glad you're here watching. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's take this one and cut it apart. Sometimes I like to use just little bits and pieces of things, so that's a good thing to do. Sometimes, like, we might just use a little bit of this zigzaggy thing. Maybe I don't know if we'll use all 4 pieces, but we'll at least use 3. All right, let's add these on, and clearly we're not going to get this stitched tonight. I do think I will hand stitch this, so come back. While I'm traveling, maybe I'll figure out taking my stuff with me. Yep, with me. All right, let's break it down into some smaller pieces. Yellow is great, but it can kind of take over. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the thing was a shop hop. It was a quilting shop hop. Yeah. That's what it was. It was a quilting shop hop, which is just not it's just not anything I've ever done. So when she asked me if I was a part of the shop hop, I'm like, no. I'm not even sure what it is. Anyway. And people who are quilters would be horrified by that. Horrified. All right. Sometimes you just got to stick it down, remembering that it's going to get cut up. Okay? You got to remember that either that or it's going to get wrapped around something to make a book cover, you know. You're never going to see it just in this one configuration. All right. So don't get wound up in it. And also, as I explained to you on Friday, it's going to change. The color of thread will change it. You know, whatever I add on top of it is going to change it. So don't get too intent upon stuff. By the time I get done with this and it's sticking to my fingers, it just is driving me mad. Oh, mad, I tell you, mad. All right. Need to connect those two together. Let's do this blue. No, I don't want that blue. Let's use this stripe. It changes a lot, so you just can't get wound up in what it looks like. You just can't. Because if you do, if you get too wound up in what it looks like at any given moment, you're just going to be sorry, because it changes. It's like Seth Apter would say, you know, you're one layer away from something that's great, and then sometimes he'd say, or if you went one layer too far, you know, and it's the one layer too much that can get you in trouble. It really can. That can get you in trouble. But you know, what are you going to do? You can't go back. So if you need all right, I got to put this one more of these on. Let's cut it down, because my brain says you can't do only 2 of those. Doesn't matter, Barb, just stick it down. Doesn't matter. Okay, and we have 3 of those. Okay, do I have any more of those little? The paper towel is totally covered. Okay, I got that. We'll put this little triangle on because I like this little triangle. And if it doesn't go in this piece, it will never go. It will never get used if I don't stick it in here. Okay, let's look in the computer and see. It's coming along pretty well. Pretty well. I think I'm looking at my computer screen just to see. We might need a little pattern down here. Maybe we'll stick this down here, huh? Maybe we'll do that. Good enough. It just needed a little something something down here. Just needs a little something over here. I'm going to let that stick off the edge. Okay. All right. So hopefully when you look at this, you kind of see. I'm going to stop here. I could keep playing with this for a long time. I'm not going to. I'm going to stop. But you can look at this. Hopefully your eye kind of moves around the piece. I mean, it could have some, there's always things you can do, because you connect this thing and then you connect that thing and you go, yeah, but that thing needs more. But if you have areas like this where the yellow doesn't really connect and your eye's not moving as much maybe in this area, then that's a good place where you can do something with stitch. Hello, Linda. You are welcome. Wow, I'm so glad she got out. Wow, it's just, that was quite a storm, wasn't it? Whew, goodness. Okay, so I think that is where we're going to stop for now. I'm going to whack this off because I don't like the rest of these ragtag edges. I can handle, but something like that's like too much. That was too much hanging out there in midair. So we'll see how this does if I hand stitch it. Probably what I may do on this is I may put a layer of tulle over it and just tack it down so I have something, if I'm going to, even though I'm going to hand stitch it, it will just help hold things together. And I think that may be what I do. Okay, so we're going to call it a night, and I will be back. I think I like this color combination. Who said that? I don't know who told me that. Blue, purple, yellow. Whoever said that, thank you. I've forgotten already who said it. But thank you so much for the suggestion. It was a great suggestion. And from a distance, so you can see it, I think it's got good possibilities. But I think I will put a piece of tulle over it, and baste it in a few places. That'll just hold it together as I stitch on it. So we'll see. All right. Thanks for coming and hanging out. That's one of the reasons I do this, is to give you guys a break from real life. And we've been through some stuff together. Real life is difficult from time to time. Whether it is the loss of an important person in your life, or the loss of a job, or property, or whatever, or the craziness in the world. My main thing, the main reason I do this, and I keep doing it, and I've done it for a long time, is just to give people a break. There's a reason I call it drama-free, whatever. It's not always drama-free, because sometimes I get on a rant. But I appreciate you guys being here, because, I need a break from real life as much as you guys do. You've been through a lot of stuff with me. I've been through a lot of stuff with you. I'm so glad you're here. I am so grateful that each and every one of you take time, whether you're watching live or watching the recording. I'm grateful that you take time to spend here and take advantage of the break from life. Sometimes it's okay to just have that break. It's okay. And then when you come up for air, do something nice for somebody else. Be kind. Leave little gifts places if you want to, surprise people. It's always good to surprise people and do something nice for them. All right. Thank you for being here. And I will be back a week from tonight. I will see you then. Okay? All right. Until then, remember to get creative today, because, as I always say, it's easy, and it really is. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody.